comes through. We are not alone in this universe. It's a thought that rings true. Ancient cave dwellers drew spacecraft on the poles. It's a recurring theme. I've seen the same thing while walking late at night, and I know it's not a dream.
From Malmstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea.
If you tell the truth, they will ridicule everything you say and do. It's all part of a deception. It's a puppet master's tool. And I've seen those craft shut down up to silos from 10 miles away. And there ain't nothing that the Pentagon can do. They can't make them go away.
From Malmstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea. From Malmstrom to Manhattan, New York to LA, you can't get the picture if they're pale or they're gray. But what we have seen might not be what it seems when the government's shadows dance in the sea.
There are competing agendas to determine mankind's fate. Their influence here for millions of years, all part of a cosmic state. Lemuria, Atlantis, and Dwaka view, all part of Earth's history. And spacecraft and stargates are really nothing new. They're all part of a lost memory.
From Malmstrom to Manhattan, Paris to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea. From Malmstrom to Manhattan, London to LA, you can't get the picture if the pale they're gray. But what we have seen might not be what it seems when the government's shadows dance in the sea.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
And hey, that is me. I'll tell you what, I had a total brain fart tonight. I forgot what time it was, and about a half an hour ago, I realized it's almost airtime. I wasn't even prepared. I'll tell you, I've been working in the studio all day and doing a whole bunch of other things, and time just went by. Tonight, we got a great guest, Joe Taylor. He'll be on right after this, but I want to say before that music you just heard is from a new group. It's called Disclosure. You can go to our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com and check out their music. There's links where you can find their music. We'll be right back right after this.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
Just thinking about another month, we're going to start hearing that thunder and all that stuff again. I don't know. They said this summer has been the hottest in recorded history. But I'll tell you what, down at the compound, down at the harbor, I can tell you one thing. It's not been the best summer I've seen. Actually, last year and the years before, that was so much better. I don't know what's going on, other than Antarctica is not going to be Antarctica, at least as we know it here, maybe in the next couple of years. Anyway, tonight, back by popular demand, because you want to hear him, is Joe Taylor. Joe Taylor, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Well, you've been staying out of trouble since we talked last?
Too busy.
Too busy. Have you fixed that roof in your museum yet?
We've had 2 new places open up, and Zechariah has been on top of that, so it's just that roof just does things. But he's working on it, and we've about got it done. He's working on the floor, and anyway, we're about around the bend on it. But this dang weather, you just don't know what's going to do.
I don't know. What type of weather you been having in Texas?
Oh, it's screeching hot.
Now,
like my pa would have said, it's hot enough to scald the hair off a dog.
well, why didn't you send some of that hot weather over our way? Yeah, it's weird. Last year in May, or actually end of April, we hit 91 degrees. You know, Alaska is hitting 97, and places in Antarctica is hitting in the 90s. You think here down in Washington State, down at Gig Harbor in the compound, we'd be having a hot summer. It's not been going on. I don't know what is going on.
Well, we send all that hot air down to Antarctica to see what's actually under all that ice.
Well, you're going to probably find prehistoric animals, or you might find a lot of alien bases that have been covered up.
There's probably a lot of that stuff there. I mean, there seems to be a lot of, Nazi stuff down there, our government, Lord knows what. I do know from some of the paleontologists that they have found parts of saber-toothed cat and I believe some sauropod dinosaurs, and I think tropical plants. So Antarctica wasn't always covered in ice, so if we somehow were responsible for warming the globe up and melted it, big deal. It was before, so.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
The last ice age we had up in Seattle, Washington, it was under, a couple thousand feet of ice. But if you travel like 40, 50 miles away from it, it was, in the 60s and totally livable. So it just depends on where you're at, I guess. Well,
I've said, since I've been involved in so many mammoth and mastodon digs, sloth, horse, bison, all that stuff from Alaska, up where it's really cold in Siberia. My feeling, knowing those animals, is the ice age was warm. There's just a lot of snow formed and turned into ice, but basically it was fairly warm weather with just a lot of melted water running everywhere. But sloths are not, I don't think, are cold animals. Cold weather animals are big things. Some of these guys are 9, 10, 12 feet tall. And mammoths don't have an oil gland in their skin. All that long hair doesn't really mean anything. They don't have an oil gland to sustain severe cold. So I've been saying for a long time, that snow's what killed them. That's what they're buried in, is frozen hail, snow, ice, and blowing dirt.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just now thawing out.
Yeah, and then it also got rid of their food source, too. So, I mean, all that all combined. But I don't know. Hey, the last time you were talking, we were talking about, I think, in Africa or somewhere where there was prehistoric monsters, reported still surviving in a small scale. And I had a lot of people, after you were on, wanting more information. So, can we kind of go over that again about these little miniature prehistoric raptors or whatever they were running around?
The story I was told about what would appear to have been describing a troodont, a little velociraptor, something about waist high, and his head comes up to your eye level. But the story was that there was some missionaries, I suppose, from America, somewhere in one of the tropical jungles, Africa or somewhere. The lady leaves the room and she comes back in, and this troodont, or some kind of a dinosaur like that, is going through the dishes or looking at the dishes in her sink. She grabs a quilt, throws it on the thing, grabs him by the neck, and throws him out of the house. If she had thought she had locked the door on that thing, called somebody, and made him $10 million. Now, I can't verify that, but a lot of times if the source is good, it tells you something, I'm willing to go with it. There are other dinosaurs. There's a guy, I may have mentioned this before. My friend Henry Johnson was talking to him, and he was, I believe, an oil geologist doing some prospecting down in Brazil, I believe, way out there in the tropical jungle. And he saw we molded tracks. That's what I do. He says, I can show you fresh tracks of a three-toed animal. And he described pretty much a T-Rex or an Acrocanthosaurus, a velociraptor or something. So I can show you some fresh tracks down there crossing a beach. And my friend said, well, you put your money where your mouth is. So I'll take you down there. Now, I don't know what happened to the geologist, and my friend passed away. But I know that was not a made-up story. Another guy, I may have mentioned this too, called me up from somewhere, said, hey, man, how do I mold tracks in wet sand? There's a dinosaur walking across the sand down here on a beach, and he described something with a foot maybe 18 inches long or something, which would be where a T-Rex would be something maybe his head might go up to 8 feet or something, not a big one, a juvenile probably. And so I coached him on how to do it over the phone, how to make a plaster cast of those wet tracks and have a perfect impression. And of course, what I would do is mold that track, and you'd have the footprint. So I know of those, and there are others.
Well, the one I was the listeners was really intrigued is the one, I think it was in Africa, or the village where I guess the villager went out hunting and saw a pig, and and then a raptor or something grabbed the pig and he threw the spear. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. This missionary, a guy with red hair from Tennessee, I believe it was, came in with his Amazonian wife, typical-looking Amazonian lady, and they were missionaries down there in the Amazon. I'm not sure exactly where, but she was looking around the museum and asked me if I had any books on dinosaurs.
Uh-oh. I think we just lost Joe. That is not good, so we're going to have to call him back and try to get him on. So let's see here. Hang on, people. That is, if Skype is going to work here for me, we'll find out. So we're giving it a try right now. Okay, I think we